Everybody wants everything yesterday. I don't think a lot of people realise how much dedication you have to put into changing your body, or to become like have that look like that Olympic athlete, or everyone that gets to the top has to sacrifice quite a lot.
3, 2, 1, let's go. Down, up. Once me, that's it. Down, up, down. Look at me, look at me.
I think people definitely judge. I know people judge me on the way that I look. I remember when I first started spinning classes, people were laughing like, how would you even fit on the bike? So it's really crazy. People do have stereotypes of what they think you're going to be.
5, 4, up here. 3, 2, 1, rest.
I try to be funny, or, well, I say funny, have fun. I think a lot of people see me as someone who might be a bit scary when they first meet me. So I try to make sure people understand that I like to have banter, I like to have a laugh. Because unfortunately, even in this day and age, there's still a lot of stereotypes attached to me because of even like my colour and things like that. So there's a lot of different barriers I don't want to go into, but people have this preconception of what you're going to be like, and I think it's important for anyone who's in my sort of role to change that. Everybody, I think, wants to settle down and have that life. Well, I assume everyone does anyway, but I'm old school. I quite like the thought of having a girlfriend and the whole wifey thing. It's quite nice. It's quite difficult to have a social life if you work in industry, because by nature of the working hours, they tend to be unsociable. It's either very early mornings or often late finishes. So yeah, it can be a little bit painful, but ultimately, you have to think about the long-term goal. So it's just one of those things. Sometimes I haven't been to visit my family because I've been working, and that can be a little bit upsetting.
Andre as a person, he's quite bubbly. I mean, he'll tell you as it is. He'll always be there to help you. He won't beat around the bush. He'll tell you if you're doing something wrong, he'd rather correct it. He doesn't sort of let you get on with it, if you know what I mean. He will tell you what you're doing wrong and basically go from there. He's a firm believer in getting the basics before going into advanced type of training. Like, he's helped me in a lot of ways, to be honest, but obviously I look up to him as a PT because he's been there, he's done it. He knows what he's talking about, and again, the things he's advised me on, the ways he's helped me. I mean, I run a boot camp outside of the gym, and he's been there with his camera helping us out, giving us advice, business advice, and he's never asked for anything in return.
I love my job. It's what I do is not a job anymore. When I started, it was a job, and I think people who have a job tend to be quite unhappy. How can you not love it? Sometimes life hands you certain things, and I think because I try to treat everyone as an equal, it's the way I was brought up. I was taught to judge people based on who they are, not on what necessarily they can offer for you. So I started trying to help people. So over time, you kind of build up a reputation for being like an inspiration without wanting to be. So now all I can do is try to abuse the power that I have, where people do look up to me, and be careful to set them a good example, because you have to leave some kind of legacy behind. And I think for me now, my goal is to leave the younger generation in a place where if they look back in 10 years, they remember that was the one person that took an interest in us when nobody else wanted to know, or the one person who was always there to give you a helping hand. Everybody wants everything, yesterday. They don't want to take the time to learn. They just want to take a quick fix. And this is where, unfortunately, people have been, taking, steroids and supplements and diet supplements, and, they're succumbing to magazines 6 weeks to a six-pack, which isn't necessarily true, because if most people understood the basics of nutrition exercise, they would get results anyway. But because of that, I think it makes people then feel pressured to conform to a magazine stereotype of what people look like, rather than making the most of their own genetics. But people aren't going to love you more if you've got a better shape, if you haven't got a good personality.
5,